I mentioned Ben Pro and Tony Ray because everyone seems to want us to talk about the commentary on the telly before we get on to the championship. I am still of the opinion that people overpraise the BBC because they're on once a month and slag off Sky gets on every week. And it's not that everything on Sky is great or everything on the BBC is great or everything on the BBC is terrible, everything on Sky is terrible. There are parts of the coverage of each which are good, parts of everything of each which I would change. But as you said earlier, John, commentary is extremely subjective. And there are some commentators out there I think are terrible, but still get work. And some commentators I think are great who you hardly hear from.
Yeah.
But what can you do?
Yeah, no, I think it's massively subjective. There's commentators that I really like, others that I tolerate, some which I despise, like Ray Hadley. It's just, it is a subjective thing. I get the argument that, to make Super League more appealing to everyone in the UK, make it less Northern, less Yorkshire, less parochial. I completely understand that. And I think that's why they have Brian Carney, an Irishman, fronting telecast, and have Janet Brooks, an Australian, doing the interviews, because that is a conscious, recognition of that. But I think, on the whole, apart from maybe Phil Clark's fashion choices, and I don't agree with, I think some of his opinions are laughable, comical, but, it is subjective. There's probably a lot of people who love them. So you can't please everyone. And I've talked to Barry McDermott about this. I think it's part of the game. And I think a lot of people, knowing Brian Carney, knowing Barry a little bit, they do a lot of research. They don't just rock up on a Friday or a Thursday night and, talk out their backsides. They speak to people in the game, they read, so it's a lot harder too than most people think.
It's all about personal preference. I mean, at the moment, my favourite commentator from the NRL is Dan Ginnane. Not somebody I know a lot about, not somebody I know where he's come from. I just find at the moment, the games that we're watching, he captures better than anybody, I think, that level of excitement. Now, quite understandably, if the standard of the game is incredibly high, less is often more. And if you're commentating on games that are either one-sided or the quality is relatively low, that's a very different brief. So I don't think there is a one-size-fits-all. And but it is solely down to revisionary theory. You will only get better when you've retired. So at the time that Eddie Waring was coming towards the end of his career, it was the worst thing that could ever have happened to rugby league. It was a caricature of the sport. Now we fondly look back and going, oh, Eddie's days, they were the glory days. So I think it was a great Ray French that once said, if 50% of the people like you and 50% of the people hate you, then you're doing a great job.
He's gone on a big bollocking run. That was my favourite.
Sounds like my Twitter feed, Phil.
It's the Andrew Ross theory, isn't it, that I have, that if he was doing every game over here, people would soon get tired of him because he's got a very distinctive style.
He has.
And it's very personality led. But if you say the same things about pie and peas in Halifax every game, then you're going to get sick and tired of him. And he's all right because he's over there and we only have to listen to him once or twice a week, so it's all right. I think what doesn't help Sky, and this is purely, again, a personal opinion, is if you listen back to some of the games that they did before, and in fact, you don't have to listen back to the old Eddie and Steve-O games. You can just listen to Saturday's game on with Jim Catalans and Salford. It was just Bill and Barry, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And as opposed to a normal game where you've got 700 people needing to chip in and have an opinion, and I think it's difficult for whoever's driving the ship to steer that ship when you've got a million people who want to say something rather than just one person. But
you mentioned Eddie and Steve-O as well, but there were enough people saying it's about time they retired who are now calling for them to come back. So you are never going to please everybody.
There's a bit of nostalgia there, isn't there, Phil? Like you hark back to what you don't have anymore, but then when it was there at the end, you kind of. I mean, I think personally, even though he's a friend of all of us here, but I think Mark Wilson is a really good caller, and he's done a good job on Sky when he's been on. But then I'll see people will tweet me like, no, he's not very good. So it's just completely subjective. I think one person likes a certain commentator and one person doesn't. Yeah.
I think the other thing that I would reiterate is it's a lot more difficult than you think as well. It is a real skill. And talking to people like Terry O'Connor in the gaps between games, that they take this incredibly seriously. They don't just get out the car and go, because I used to play, I know what I'm talking about. And he in particular is extremely aware of how, he calls it, privileged he is to be able to call a game, and they don't do it lightly. And also the other thing you've got to remember is that sometimes they're told by their producers and directors exactly the style that they want them to comment in. So they want to play it up a little bit. They want to, have this banter between each other. And that, is something that they are being told to do as part of their role, rather than it being seen to be, it's their show kind of thing. So you got to take all that into account.
But Test Match Special was really good 20 years ago, and it's not as good now.
Yeah, and Match of the Day was fantastic when Kenneth Wolstenholme was on it.
Jimmy Hill.
Could dig up Richie Beno and somehow regenerate it just to do every sport. So it's 2 for 22. That'd be welcome back. That'd be good, but we can't. So.
And the other thing as well is we've got hundreds of different angles showing loads of different things. The actual coverage itself, Richie Beno was absolutely brilliant and would be in any era. The sort of bloke, a bit like John Arlott, that when he was on the telly, you stopped and just watched and listened. Technologically, he literally had the same view that you did watching. He saw the ball, he commented on the ball. If you waited, you got a replay of the ball. Now you'd have that ball from 75 different angles. It's a lot different pace to what it used to be. It's a different commentating style.
He also had the beige, the white, the off-key suits. The variety of off-white suits for every.
That's where Phil Clark gets it from.
I do love going back to that clip where he talks about Trevor Chappell's underarm bowling and just slags it off. That's brilliant. It's a wonderful piece of television. God bless Richie Beno.
He's going over that, Rich. Thanks for mentioning it.